Hi, welcome back to a little bit of Calm and Crazy. My name is Jennifer, and today I am so excited to share with you some more Dollar Tree DIY projects. If you are new to my channel, welcome. I am so glad that you are here. I hope you will take a moment and say hello and introduce yourself in the comments below. If you are returning, thank you so much. As always, I honestly am so appreciative of the time that you take. If you don't know it, you can find me on Instagram. It is a little bit of Calm and Crazy over there, just like it is here. On Instagram, I enjoy posting some short little videos that I don't post over here, as well as a little bit more of my personal life. Also, if you haven't, hit that subscribe button and you enjoy budget decor, DIYs, Dollar Tree, all that good stuff, I hope you will consider hitting that subscribe button. And without further ado, let's jump into today's projects. If you saw my haul, you saw this Scarecrow, and you know I thought he was cute, but that face, I couldn't deal with it, and so I reached out to y'all and I asked for your help, and thank you so much. You guys were awesome and you came through. So here I am starting off by removing his hat and getting that off first. After that, I go in and I decided I'm going to cover his head with burlap. So I went ahead and I picked up some burlap from Hobby Lobby. I did use a coupon and I was able to get a yard of burlap for under $3. So here you see that I am measuring out the amount that I will need, and so I get a general idea, and then I can take the burlap off and just cut out just the corner of the section that I need, just a small little amount. As you can see here, you can still tell that you can see the orange and the jack-o'-lantern face through the burlap. So I decided to go ahead and take out some of my Waverly chalk paint in white and paint his face in order for that to not be seen. You could also try removing the jack-o'-lantern fabric off of the foam, but I was worried that it would detach too much of the shirt as well, and I didn't want to have to worry about trying to glue all of that back together and messing all of that up. So I decided that painting it might be actually the simplest way to fix this problem. So that's why I chose to go this route. Once it's all painted, you should set it aside and let it dry. I was being impatient, so notice I'm having to hold it up. But I decided I wanted to stuff him and make him just a little bit fuller. He just looked a little flimsy to me. So I'm just taking some batting and stuffing him. Now at this time I went ahead and I'm stuffing his pants, and I go ahead and I stuff his shirt. You will see later that I go back and I decided that I didn't like the look of his stuffed shirt. So just to save you some time, if you don't like the look of the stuffed shirt, just skip that step. I do like the fact that I put a little stuffing in his belly actually and made that just a little bit more, gave it just a slight bit of rounding versus just that square look, but not enough necessarily to say that it's worth doing it. I would say if you like the stuffing, stick to the pants. While I'm here, I'm also removing the flower that was on his apron, or her apron, which whatever he, I'm not sure. My son thinks it's a her because it's an apron. I still say he. My husband wears an apron when he cooks sometimes, but I will be replacing that. I just wanted a flower that looked a little bit better and maybe not quite so cheap looking. So here you see that I'm now taking my time and I'm going through on the raffia, and I'm just kind of cutting them at an angle and giving them just a little bit more texture than what they were before. Again, all of this is optional. Anything I do, of course, is optional. But these are just little steps that I took to try to just spice him up a little bit and make him look a little bit more fresh and just something that I'm happy to display in my home. As I'm cutting on an angle, I am switching my angles back and forth again, just to add a little bit of a difference in the texture. And so sometimes I'll come in from the right and other times I'll go in from the left. Now it is time to wrap his head. So I'm just taking the burlap and placing it where I want it and getting it even, and realizing here I actually don't have it even. So I'm just wrapping it around, and I'm actually taking, this is from the tie that he had originally around his
neck. So I'm just taking one of those pieces, I'm going to wrap it around, and then I'm just going to tie it into a knot once I have it in place around the back and just cut it off. And here you see that I have it in place. So now that it's in its place, I need to trim it up. So I have it nice and tied. So I just take my scissors and I take it around. Now I feel like I'm in a little bit of a Wizard of Oz, and here's my Scarecrow. I am so excited. So I will tell you, right, as of now, I have his face blank and I have left it this way. So here's where I need your help. Do I leave his face blank or should I add a face on him? What do you think? Let me know that in the comments down below. I'd love to hear what you think. Once you're satisfied with the Scarecrow head itself and the length of the burlap, it's time to go ahead and return his hat to his head. I decided to go ahead and remove this flower as well, and the little leaf that's underneath it. I will be replacing that with another flower, just like I am on the one with the apron. So once I get his hat in position, I do go in with a little bit of hot glue in order to secure that to his head. And then here are the flowers that I will be using to replace the ones that I removed earlier. I just pull the flower straight off of the stem. I use some scissors in order to snip it as close as I can to get that little extra piece off. And then I use some hot glue in order to secure that onto the apron. I was going to do the exact same thing with the one on his hat, but it needed a little bit more attention than just hot gluing it straight on, and so I will be coming right back to that one in just a moment. I decided to first focus on his hair, so I'm doing the same thing that I did earlier, and I'm going around and I'm cutting all of the pieces at angles, going from right to left, adding just a little bit more texture and movement, and just giving it that just little snip of an angle on those ends. I do the same thing with the pieces that are coming out of the hat. If you saw earlier, my flower wasn't very flat, so I actually took my hair flat iron around the petals and I flattened it out, and I'm much happier, and now I can hot glue it down. I'm trying to decide if I should do that with the one on the apron. I didn't. Now, this is when I went back and I decided to remove all that stuffing from the shirt. I just felt like he just looked just way too full. So that's why I say just skip this part. I just didn't like it. I wanted him to look a little bit more free-flowing or something. I don't know. Once I have that out, it is time to go in with my hot glue gun and close up all the seams that are open. If you only do his pants, you won't have hardly any open seams. It's super easy. And even this was easy. So use your hot glue gun, close up at any of your seams, and then you're done unless you're adding a face. And again, let me know, what do you think? Should I add a face? I think he looks so much better than he did before. Now he does not scare me. I actually think he's quite adorable. This sign is the base for the last two projects. I just love this red truck and I cannot seem to get enough. To start off with, I am cutting the inside and the outside apart from one another. And then I'm going to go ahead and take some wood filler and fill in the two holes that are on the outside pumpkin sign and let that set aside to dry. And while it's drying, I will be working on the inside pumpkin. So here I get to work with my little red truck. I'm taking some rope. So this is the Dollar Tree rope. It comes 9 feet. I actually find that it's cheaper to get rope at Walmart. So here's some rope that I have left over. I don't actually have too much of it that I got from Walmart. And so you can see the difference here. And because I have just enough to do this and maybe one other project, I'm going to go ahead and finish up the rope that I have. But whatever you have on hand, I always say use what you have instead of going out and getting something new. So using just a little bit of hot glue, you're just going to take your rope around the edges, covering up the glitter, basically, that's on the border of the sign. And just taking your time, a little bit of hot glue, then placing the rope, a little bit of hot glue, and then placing your rope, and just continuing that all the way around. I grabbed a stick from my own yard and just cut a piece off of it. And I am going to use that to create the pumpkin stem. And so here I am trying to decide exactly where I want to place it or how I want to place it. And once I have decided how I want to place it, then I will know where to hot glue it. So just adding a little bit of hot glue to my wood stick. I then just place it onto the back of the sign, flipping that over to make sure I have it exactly where I want it. So here I'm going in with a wired jute cord to create the little curly cute parts that go on the pumpkin. And all I'm going to do is take it, I'm going to wrap it around the pumpkin one time and getting the length that I want. And then to make sure that it is the same length on both sides, using a pair of scissors. You could use wire cutters, those were just closer. And then using a pencil in order to create that corkscrew, curly Q, whatever you want to call it. I'm doing that to both sides. Luckily, you can see what I'm doing because I am definitely not explaining it very well. Once I have that done, then I can place it back onto the stem and just kind of twist it around and adjust it to get the look that I want. In order to make sure that it stays on my stem, I do go in with just a little dab of hot glue and I add that onto there and glue that straight down just onto the back. You don't need much hot glue. And then move that around. Now, some of that is coming off, some of the twine, is coming off of the wire. So I'm just going in with some Mod Podge on my fingers and twisting that around the wire, and that will fix that super fast and keep it from fraying and coming off. And that's just a quick and easy tip to take care of that problem. I do want to mention that I actually got the rope idea from Dana. She actually DMs me sweet little pictures on Instagram all the time of projects that she's working on, and I am so glad that I saw that she added the rope to this. It was the perfect added touch, and I knew that I needed to do that too. So here you can see that I'm using 2 tumbling tower pieces in order to create a stand for my pumpkin so that it can stand on its own with just a little bit of hot glue. I love this because now I can place it anywhere and it will not matter. I just adore this red truck. I cannot say enough good things about it. And just adding a few little bonus touches to it just made this perfect for me. I hope that you love this too, and now let me show you how I finished up the outside of this pumpkin. I'm starting off by sanding where I did a wood filler just to make that nice and smooth, and going in with some Waverly chalk paint and white and just painting the entire thing. Once that has set up and dried completely, then we can go in and do the rest. So here you see that I have a buffalo checked bag that came from Dollar Tree. These are hard to come by, and I know that. So you can also use this, which is some wrapping paper that I picked up at Hobby Lobby, again, always with a coupon. Start off by tracing out your pumpkin and then cutting it out. And then once you have it cut out, you do need to trim it down so that it will not be peeking out any of the sides of your pumpkin. And you don't want to trim it too much, so you might just trim it just a tiny bit at a time. Once you have it all trimmed out, you will go in with some hot glue and just attach that to the back of the pumpkin. Notice I just left that alone, so that's the glittery side. If you notice, I didn't touch the glittery side, but I will be covering that up in just a little bit as an optional step. If you're doing this with wrapping paper, you might want to put it on something more secure like foam board that you can get from the Dollar Tree, or even cardboard or something like that, just because it is even thinner and flimsier. I have the middle letters from Dollar Tree, and I will be using the word thankful. It does also come with grateful and harvest, so you can choose, of course, any of the words that you want. So taking a little bit of the super glue gel that you can also get from Dollar Tree, I just dotted that onto the word, placing it where I want it. It was a little bit slippery, but I got it where I wanted it. But it does dry super fast. That's why I chose this glue. And I think that looks super adorable. But here's the optional thing. I don't like the back, and if you know me, I don't like unfinished projects. So going in with some black poster board that is pre-cut, I love this stuff. I'm going to attach this to the back just as is. to start off with, straight down onto my pumpkin. Now, it doesn't fit exactly. I have a little bit of the stem showing, but I will show you how I fix that in just a little bit. So I just hot glue this straight down, and then I'm going in with my craft knife and I'm just cutting it around the pumpkin. That way I get it to fit exactly, and I don't have any sort of accidental too far of a cut, too short of a cut. This was the best way that I could think to do this. Some of the smaller pieces took just a little bit more time, and so I just took the time that they needed. Now here's where I'm fixing that little boo-boo. I'm just taking a little bitty piece, I'm hot gluing it straight on, so it will have a little seam, but because it's just a small piece, you don't really notice it. At least I didn't feel like you do, especially once I added everything else, and I just kept it fairly seamless. Went in again with my craft knife and cut off all the extra. Now, because I have layer upon layer upon layer, I think it looks kind of janky on the back side of things and on the sides, and I don't like that. So I'm taking first my sandpaper, I'm smoothing things out, making them smooth. And then I'm going in with some black jute or black twine, whatever you want to call this, and I'm going to take that around first the sides with some hot glue, and this is a very fine tip hot glue. This is a SureBonder hot glue gun, my favorite brand of hot glue guns, and I'm gluing the twine around the very edge. Once I have that all the way around, I then go in again one more time around, but this time it's on the inside of that twine on top of the black poster board, just to give that a better look, because I just wanted that to look a little bit better on the back side. Again, all of this is optional, I know that. Now to add the word boo, I'm going in with the die cut letters. These are the 4-inch ones from Dollar Tree. I just pulled out the B, and they do have 2 O's in it, so you don't have to like reuse the same O. And I just first trace them with my pencil. And in order to trace them with the white, I actually used a white gel pen. But you could also use just a white paint pen. You could use paint. You could use anything that you want to. It wouldn't really matter. It's just whatever, again, you have on hand or what your personal preference is. I think this is super simple. Just a really great, easy piece to have that will be a great accent piece to other Halloween decor. I don't do a ton of things for Halloween, but I do like to have a few things around, and so I'm excited to add this to my collection. I'd love to know, would you leave it just the front side, or would you include the back side as well? Let me know that in the comments below. I hope that you enjoyed all 3 of these projects today. I would love to hear from you. When do you decorate for fall? Don't get me wrong, I realize that August is just a little bit too early, but do you start decorating in September, October? I would love to know that in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video today, please give it a big thumbs up. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, I would love it if you would. Thank you so much for stopping by today, and I cannot wait to see you in the next one. Bye.